Yo, my peoples, what's up? Welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop. Jason here, and today I have a playthrough of Tindaya. This one is from designer Lolo Gonzalez, published by Red Mojo. It is a crowdfunding campaign that is currently or will be launching live on GameFound, concurrent with this video. It is a 1-to-4 player strategy game where we are going to be playing natives of the Canary Islands around the time of the conquistadors. We will be surviving. We're going to build stuff, but don't get too attached to it because a very fragile existence over here. We will be going to be facing threats from conquistadors that are coming in. Also, we have to placate the wrath of the gods that will create natural disasters that will terraform the environment. We will survive over the course of 3 rounds by fighting off the conquistadors and generating resources so that we can satisfy the gods and feed ourselves. At the end of 3 rounds, that will be the end of the game. Happy to feature a full playthrough, but before I do that, let me go ahead and tell you about the One Stop Co-op Shop. We are a gaming empire. You are on the YouTube where we have lots of previews and reviews, older games, newer games, so much. If you love solo and cooperative games, our YouTube has so much to offer you. We also have our streaming channel where Peter and Steve and a bunch of the guys and gals that are with the One Stop Co-op Shop will be featuring live playthroughs of a lot of these games. We also have our podcast where we have longer form reviews and discussions, which launches twice a week. We also have our Discord, which is the heart of our community. The Discord is completely free to join, and you can come in and participate at any level. If you want to contribute to our Patreon, we would thank you very, very much. That's how we're able to get the games and the equipment and all that kind of thing. So if you wanted to contribute to the Patreon, great. But if not, please feel free to join our community. Most of the channels are open completely free, and join the discussion about solo and cooperative games because we are the One Stop Co-op Shop. All right, so I would like to provide an overview of all the game elements that you will see. I will not go through the entire rule set here at the beginning. I'll let a lot of that unfurl as the playthrough proceeds. Wanted to just give a general sense of game flow and explain the elements so that you know a little bit about what you're seeing when you start the playthrough. All right, so at the beginning of the game, you are going to be provided with these workers, which are the heart of the game. These are nobles, and these are regular villagers. And keep in mind that this is all prototype stuff, but the prototype I received is pretty beautiful. I imagine the final product is going to be very similar. Speaking of prototype stuff, look at the goats. Look at the goats. They're so cute. They go on these settlement pieces over here. And it is the settlements that will largely play into the resource gathering. Man, I'm having a hard time with that. So then these are your resource panel. They track how much of anything you have, and you track that with these little chits over here. They also track what you can do, which are the square and the cylinders. If you see a row like this, that means the technology is locked. You cannot engage or produce whatever that is. So fish in this case and pig-based products over here. Can't do that. I'm locked until I do something in the game that unlocks those. I can, however, because these are unlocked, start to work with goats, which I also happen to have over here, and also some work with crops, which is a little bit off camera. This panel over here has general resources, wood and stone and clay, that kind of thing. As I walk around the island, I'll be able to go to these different spots and uncover these resources, and the resource would tell me, or the chip would tell me how many resources I get, which I would track once again with these guys. This is my tribe. I am the Acero tribe. There are a number of starting possible tribes that give you a little power. In this particular case, I'll be gathering a little bit more obsidian than my opponents. Each tribe has a certain power. This one, because obsidian is useful in combat, I will be engaged in some combat, a little bit more. A little bit more than another tribe would be. Let's get to the exciting stuff, taking actions. Okay, so that would be the action pieces start over here. You see 2 cylinders and 3 cubes for the solo game. The cubes are the heart of the actions. You'll be able to use these every single round, once per round, for the duration of the game, which is 3 rounds long. So then I have choices. I can go here, and that will let me produce. So then the game will tell me how much I produce. I have 2 goats over here. I would get 2 milk. This says that if I slaughter a goat, I would get a horn and a piece of meat. So I could just do that as long as I have goats. If I wanted to just murder all my goats. For the good of the tribe, obviously. Then I would produce over here. This is locked right now, so I would not be able to produce cheese. If at a later turn I wanted to unlock that, I would take another action cube. I would put that over here, and that would be my unlocking of technologies. I would pay whatever the resource cost is over here in order to get what I want, which in this particular case, I would have to pay a clay and a stone to unlock this cheese over there, and then in future production rounds, I would be able to produce all along this entire track. The cylinders are very powerful. The cylinders, once you acquire them, either from over here, mostly from unlocking them over here, they become action pawns. The cylinders, if I were to say, not use the cube, but if I were to use the cylinders, then I would be able to do whatever it is twice. So then it would be 2 separate production rounds. The thing about the cylinders is that they're one-time use. The cubes you can use every round. Here, once you use them, you lose them. So a part of the management of the game is knowing when to use your cylinders, knowing when to unlock technology so that you can acquire cylinders at the right time, use them once, and then move on. And then you have a couple of actions over here. So let's say I wanted to unlock the cave. I would pay these resources, and I'd move that cylinder over there. That would let me house more of these people. At the end of the round, they're going to reproduce. There's also other little ways that you can get more people. But anything over 4, they have to be housed in a separate cave, which is this area over here. So I need to make sure that if I'm going to grow in population, then I have extra housing for them. One of the actions that you're going to take very, very often is movement. So that would be this panel over here. You see the feet icon, and there are 3 hexes listed right there. So you can do your movement in a number of ways. You can move a pawn 1 anywhere. You can move separate pawns for separate actions. Or if you wanted to, you can take a pawn and move them in a straight line. So then I'll go 1, 2, 3, but I cannot float over water. Oh no. So then in that particular case, I would take a canoe and build one for 1 wood. I'm going to take 1 wood off of my board. And I would have that canoe in order to be able to cross. That canoe stays. Any player would be able to use this canoe in future turns and playing a solo game. So I can leave my canoe right there, not to worry about it. Yeah. Moving across sea lanes, you'd have to move in a straight line. But if you're moving over land, you can move wherever you want. So that would be 3 moves. And once again, if you use the cylinder, you would be able to do that twice. So you'd be able to move 1 pawn 6, or you'd be able to split them up among different movements. Once you finish your movement on a particular hex, you have a lot of different options for what you can do depending on where you land. So if I were to move here 1, at the end of that movement, and only at the end of the movement, I would be able to claim this resource for myself. And that accounts for any particular area over here. There is a limit to how many of these you can get in the cooperative mode, actually, depending on what your difficulty is. I'm playing a nice low difficulty, so 8. But once you get to that capacity, you can no longer acquire resources, at least in the cooperative mode. More things that you can do. So let's say I wanted to move all the way over here. This is a bot character. They're just here to help you learn different trades. So at the end of the round, if I ended over on this area, this particular space is a pig farm, I would actually unlock and get the cube for the pig technology, and I would be able to develop that technology in a later round. So that's a nice way to share stuff. In the cooperative game, it works the same way, where you can visit somebody else on their space and learn their technology and trade cubes for yourself. The noble in particular has the ability to build settlements. So if I landed over here, I would claim this resource and also build a settlement. And the only possible settlement to build on a mountain is the goat farm. So I would have another goat farm. If I land in an empty settlement, or if I create a settlement, then I would gather some goats from the wilderness. So I would be able to expand my empire, which is the whole point of games like this, right? Expand your empire. So again, that is a free thing that you can do at the end of your movement. Once you've spent the movement action, you have all these options for things that you can do. Another thing that you can do is you could take out these pesky conquistadors, which is a part of the victory condition. I'll get to that in just a second. But in terms of actually making that happen, let's say I wanted to bring my characters across. I would pay for that canoe, as I illustrated earlier. I bring them over here, and there are 2 of them, so I would need 2 weapons. So in this particular case, I happen to have 2 obsidian. I would spend those 2 obsidian, and I would capture the conquistadors, and they would go into my jail. Go ahead and pick that up over there. Of course, I would have to have spent these 2 obsidian in order to put them in a jail. These are basically wild tokens. If I am short resources on the offering, I can instead go ahead and offer the gods some conquistadors instead, which I think is very cute. You could offer your own villagers also as offerings to the god. Don't recommend doing that too often, except in the last round. The conquistadors are there to be sacrificed to the gods. And this is the volcano that represents the sacrifice to the gods. So much of the game revolves around satisfying what is on this board. All right, so we have 2 gods over here. We have one god of the volcano, and we have a goddess of the sea who need to be satiated. And these cards, which will change from era to era, are going to list sacrifices that they are asking for. So in this particular case, in era 1, you consult the 2. In era 2, they need 3 things, and in era 4, they need the latter of the 3 things. So then in era 1, they want a fish, a goat, an obsidian, and a straw. That would change from era to era. So then once I take my noble and I end its turn on a volcano, I put down as much resources here as possible. So obviously you're going to want to gather as much in the preceding rounds, and towards the end of the round, come to the volcano and just lay it all on there at once, like that. So then if I were to successfully placate the gods and meet their demands, then that would make them less angry and they would do less stuff to me on the board. As you can see, there is yellow, orange, and red. So then yellow, the wrath wouldn't be too bad, but if they're hitting red, that's not great at all. So much of what you do in Tindaya is going to be in response to not only the offerings that the gods are asking for, but the position of these get in your way harrying pieces that are going to kind of mess with the island and mess with you. So you're going to have a round by round appearance from the god, and what this piece does depends on the card that is displayed on the god section over there. You are going to have a volcano, which does the same thing. Every single time, if we allow the volcano to explode, it will remove all of the settlements and everything there, turn everything into rock. So it's kind of represent an explosion. Not only that, it would turn other things into rock as well. So then it would be just a total disaster. You don't know, you know exactly what's going to happen when a volcano erupts. The good thing about the volcano, though, is that it does generate its own resources. So if you're in need of rock or obsidian, plenty where the volcano exploded. There is also a tsunami piece. The tsunami piece is over here. They do a similar effect, but not a little bit different. They would remove pieces and turn stuff into water. So as you can see, a very dynamic environment. You're going to have to be on your toes, responding to the board from turn to turn. Do not get attached to your settlements. Do not get attached to your growing empire. This game, with the kind of weather pieces, is basically telling you just worry about survival. You also have these conquistadors, which show from turn to turn. The conquistadors are going to attack settlements. It'll send 2 conquistadors at each settlement and then turn them, when they conquer them, into forts. full of conquistadors so that you can go back in there, reconquer, capture those conquistadors, and keep everything else going. The size of the effects are going to depend on the anger of the gods. That's why it's so important to keep them satisfied. This was a yellow effect, so the lowest possible effect for the volcano. The angrier this god is, the bigger that will be. So you're going to have areas that are basically all volcano if you don't, if you aren't careful with your management of their anger. The entire mid phase after you've done your productions are covered here on this tracker, and you would just follow them one at a time. You have reproduction, you have to feed your people. Oh yeah, by the way, this is a feed your people game. Food's gonna spoil, you have to manage the garbage. If you don't manage the garbage well, then you're going to anger the god of the volcanoes for wasting all their stuff. You are going to offer, this is the offering phase, that's separate. This phase right here, this card is going to correspond to the card over here, which is all the things that happen. Not every deity will, or every bad thing will appear. I'm playing on a kind of a middle difficulty. If you're playing on a higher difficulty, you can expect to see everything. So then there are separate ones for era 2 and era 3. So that would be that phase. You would check for endgame conditions. You must have a noble alive, at least the cooperative game, or solo. You cannot have all your nobles gone. Then you would make your offering, which would reveal the next round's disasters, what they are and where they are. In the solo cooperative game, you also have a separate thing. There's not enough to track. You need more things to track. This is a requirement that I would need to have a certain number of conquistadors in my jail. If I wanted to play easy mode, it'd be 2, 3, or 4. I'm playing on easy mode. I want to try to have 2 conquistadors in my jail at the end of the game. So that would be a separate mission card. Another thing to manage when it comes to winning the game in cooperative mode or solo mode are the number of conquistadors. So then it actually balances depending on how many villagers you have. So then if I'm in solo and I have 8 villagers, then there needs to be less than 10 conquistadors. If I was from 2 players, and let's say I had between 11 and 12 villagers, there needs to be less than 9 conquistadors. So then I'm going to try to keep these as low as possible. 10, I think I can manage that. Wait. There is one thing that I forgot, or a couple of things here, and these are the cards. So completely independent of the markers, you do not use markers in order to interact with these cards. So then I could either purchase these cards, which are upgrades. This would allow me to buy from the idle deck. This would allow me to build some walls, so protects my fortifications. And this would help me with the spoilage aspect. If I have a bucket over here, my food would be less likely to spoil. I could buy that anytime during my turn. It does not cost me an action as long as I can afford them. When I summit the mountain, the first person that does it every single turn, a solo game, I'll just get these once per round. These are a collection of temporary power-ups, and I can use them on my turn to do all sorts of stuff. Cancel a Conquistador Invader, and all sorts of great stuff like that. So, even more stuff. I think that's enough. Now, I'm ready to play a game of Tindaya. Alright, so now I'm ready to begin a game of Tindaya. Here is the volcano board. As I said in the overview, you're really going to want to pay attention to this. This really guides so much of what you're going to do from turn to turn and what you need to do to avoid what's going to happen to you. Okay, so then I need 1 fish and 1 goat to satisfy the male god. I need 1 obsidian and 1 straw to satisfy the female god. As it happens, I got resources from my starting card, much of which satisfies what's there except for the fish. I can't make fish. Well, this one is good. That's a cooked fish. That's not what this is. So I can't satisfy the fish right now, and I don't think I will satisfy the fish. That's going to have to be a conquistador. Unfortunately. But that is what I'm going to go for. I only have to do 1 per player. So I'm the only player. I'm going to do 1. And so because I already have obsidian, straw, and goat, I'm going to focus on building up and preparing myself for later rounds. These aren't too bad. These cards are revealed at Era 1 automatically. Era 2 and 3, I would have to make offerings to the seer. Don't know if I explained it that well in the overview, but just for reference, in that phase, in the event phase, where I can make offerings, I can burn stuff, either manure, wood, or straw. If I offer 2 of them, then I can figure out what's going to happen to me. If I can do it both of them, I can figure out where it's going to happen. So that would come out of these cards, these location cards. So then I could figure out either one, what or where, and then so I would be able to reveal that. So I'm going to want to pay attention to what's going on over here. The way I have the board laid out in terms of the initial troubles are not too bad. This volcano is going to explode here. I fully intend to satisfy the volcano god, so I'm going to try to get the volcano explosion as small as possible. I'm probably going to lose access to this fishery, so I probably won't be able to unlock the technology over here by sharing, but that's too bad. And this one won't do anything, at least this round. So based on the card says that it would bring a typhoon and it would destroy any settlement and anyone on a settlement that is on a coastal land, but I don't have that. So here in this part of the board is where a lot of the action is going to happen. I put my 2 settlements over here somewhat close together, praying that enough bad things would kind of happen off on the corners. I ended up having my prayers answered partially. I do have ships that kind of clustered near my areas, and I also have conquistadors here and here. They don't attack or anything, they're just there. They are going to increase in population as well. That is also a lose condition if I get too many conquistadors, but I don't plan on having them around too much, so don't worry about that. I have a plan. Anyway, so I did end up rolling some D8 for positioning, and I got 2 ships over here. But like I said, I have a plan for dealing with all of that. As for the god, this is Acheran. I should probably use their proper name. They appeared on this volcano. Their card says that they are going to destroy these types of settlements along with anybody on there, but there won't be any settlements over here. I do not plan on making this type of settlement, so it's a good thing that they're not going to be bothering me too much as well. All right, I'm ready to go, and I'm going to start off on the offensive. I got 3 of these cubes and a couple of cylinders, 2 cylinders in a solo mode to start, and then more as I develop technologies. We're going to do this. We're going to go on the offensive. So then I'm going to take these 2 characters, a nobleman and a villager. I can't take the whole village like I want to because these goats will run away and go feral. I do not want that. So that's terrible. So as a free action, I'm going to spend a wood. So I'm going to go ahead and take that wood piece. I'm down to 2 from my starting layout. And then I'm going to, let's just say like Zelda style, they disappear into the canoe. that's my first move. My second move is I'm going to bring them over here. And then my third move is I'm going to go into this mountainous area. I'm going to be able to do a couple of things. First of all, I am going to get this material, which is 2 stone and an obsidian. And so I have the power that lets me get extra obsidian. Those are weapons that is going to absolutely come into play as I begin to clear the land of conquistadors. The second thing I'm going to do is I am going to make a pig farm, or a goat herding thing, because I have the noble over here. The noble allows me to establish new settlements. I know I'm going to try to set up a defense over here so that when these pirates attack, they're going to attack, I'm going to have to be prepared for them so they won't hurt me too bad. When I make a new settlement, I can get 2 more goats. Like so. Okay. And then they are going to appear right there. So that is 1 complete move. All right, for my second action of the turn, I am going to develop a technology. I'm going to open up this area right here and get myself some cheese. So then I have the wood and I have the clay that I need. Going to go ahead and spend those in order to get this and open that up. Reason I wanted to open up this technology is because I am going to use my next cube, which is my last cube, to produce. And I get to produce into all of these areas. So then I'm going to produce, I have 4 goats, so I get 4 milk. Okay. I only have 3 villagers, and I anticipate I only will have 3 villagers. So I need to feed 3 of them. It would generate 1 waste. That will spoil over here. So that is why I unlock the cheese. I will get to that in just a second. I now have the option to slaughter some goats. I'm actually going to slaughter these 2 goats that I just found. I don't plan on staying there. And I need what you have to give. So we are going to put 2 goat meat over there. That's also going to feed my peoples. And more importantly, because I'm playing an aggressive game, I am going to get 2 weapons. Goat horns right there. So I'll be using that in just a second. And then I have the option to spend resources to make this into some cheese, which is non-perishable. I can store up to 3. Anything after 3 will perish unless I buy a receptacle, but I don't have that yet. So I'm going to spend 2 of these, and I am going to spend 2 wood, and I am going to get 2 cheese. Those will be useful later. And so these are non-perishable. This is like kind of reserve stores. I now have 2 milk and 2 goat meat to feed my peoples. All right, so I am going to make a power move over here. I got 3 cylinders now. I'm going to use 1 cylinder, remove it from the game. You get 3 movements. First, I can move here and here. So then you can group natives together, but they can only move 1. So it's like this counts as 1, 2 movements. And then the third movement is going to be here. All right, so I am going to attack this area, and I am going to spend 2 of my obsidian that I obtained, and I am going to throw these in jail. Get out. I love that. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I get such a kick out of the conquistadors. I think that's my favorite part of the game, is conquering conquistadors. Revenge. Notice that my canoe stays right there. Nothing I can do about that. And the god is watching me, but they, according to the card, they're not going to do nothing. That's what I said. Do nothing to me. All right. So that was some conquering of some conquistadors. And then I get some exploration stuff. So this is 2 obsidian, which is 3 according to my card, and a rock, which I will happily take. So that is, now I'm up to 4 obsidian and 3 regular rock resource. And I needed wood, so I came all the way up here, and I lucked out. This is the best tile. 3 plus era 1 would be 4 wood. Excellent. Okay. So then, if you have too much resource, then you just use that chit right over there. And also remember that I used my cylinder, so I get a whole other set of movements after that. So I got wood, which is exactly what I wanted. I'm going to spend 1 of those wood, and I'm going to make myself a canoe. And for 1 move, I'm going to move on top of the canoe. For 2 moves, we're going to go surfing. Ooh, that is 1 move on the open sea within the Canary Islands. So that's 1, 2, and then I'm going to move here. For 3, you will know I love my obsidian. You know I love my weapons. Let's see what I get. Come on, Papa. 3 rocks. All right. I think I know what to do with those rocks. So we're going to put those on my board over there. And we are going to get, anytime I get anything from one of the rocks, it doesn't have to have an obsidian on there, I get another obsidian. Definitely want that. And now, I think I'm going to use another cylinder. Not advisable that I use both of my cylinders, but I think I like all the things I'm going to be able to do. So I'm going to go here for 1. That I could use the other 3 movements, and I am going to. So I'm going to put both of these persons over here, and then I'm going to be able to do what I need to. I think while I can, I'm just going to move this guy back there. He's going to be productive later. So that was 3 moves. And I get to do things. So this is going to uncover a resource. It's going to be players plus 1 clay. Clay does not expire. So I'm going to enjoy using that. Let me just go ahead and move some of that around. Get that obsidian right there. All right. Take my word for it. I have 2 clay now. He is back at the settlement for future production, and I get to do my offerings at the volcano. All right, there is the volcano. I have obsidian coming out of you-know-where, and I'm able to do that, and I'm able to do the straw. I have no fish, and I also highlight, I only have 2 goats, and I want them to reproduce, so I'm going to throw them a conquistador instead. Get in the fire! Get in the fire! My favorite part of the game. Get out of here! I have officially satisfied the anger and the hunger of the gods. And since I used the cylinder, I get 3 more moves. It'll be 1, 2, so that they are ready to meet the onslaught of these characters over here. And this one is going to move here, having given the offering, and now I'm going to barter with them. All right, so I am going to manipulate some things, because right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 food and only 3 villagers. That would generate 2 waste, because these 1, 2, 3 things do spoil. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what in the solo rules, and this is also a variant on the multiplayer game. In the solo game, you can always do this, called a dowry. I am going to give them 3 things. So then, and I also have plenty of stone. You want stone? I got plenty of stone for you. So then I am going to give them 1 food and 2 stone. So that is a gift of 3 different things. And that will allow me to get me another villager. Right there, that is a dowry, and that got me my 4th villager. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 food to give them that would spoil. They completely clean it. I have extra non-perishable food. I feel like I'm doing really, really good so far. Okay, so then I think I am done with the round. All right, now for the lengthy event phase. 9 phases. We have to go through them one at a time. So first we do reproduction. So everything, every villager, which is the small pieces, and animals reproduce. So my 4 people are spread out, so they're not together to reproduce. Nobles do not reproduce. They're too busy doing their own thing, which is perfectly fine. So I don't reproduce, but I did get the dowry, so that was really good. So I have my 4 villagers. That's cool. And then I get the goat. The goat comes from reserve, not from the wilderness. This area is the wilderness. It acts differently than the reserve. But this is a 3rd goat. I have 1 goat in the wilderness, unfortunately, so they won't do anything, won't reproduce. But the pigs in the area will reproduce. The reason why that is important is I am going to learn pig farming, so I may just get some pigs going when I learn that trade. All right, so aspects 2, 3, and 4. So first thing is feed your peoples. I have 4 peoples to feed, and thanks to the dowry, I was able to manage it so that I fed them all with perishable food. I have my non-perishable food for later, which is completely fantastic, and nothing spoils. So spoilage would be the 4th step. So then I would look at all the places. Oh, get out of here. I think I calculated that wrong. I meant to not have anything spoiled. So just take my word for it, people. Nothing spoiled, because I arranged that with the dowry. Okay, so then that's all good, and then nothing spoiled, so I have nothing going on over there. And then I check for cave. I have 4 people out. They are guarded by this cave. I would need an additional cave if I had 5, 6, and 7 my villagers out there. That means going to this spot and getting that cylinder. I may do that next turn, depending on how many more villagers I get out there. All right, here we have the offerings. Bye-bye, conquistadors, into the fire. Love it. There we go. And both gods have been satisfied. Acheron, you are calmer. Moneba, I'm going to get that name wrong. I think it's Moneba. You are satisfied as well. Going to be using these cards to consult with the what happened in the board. This will be there for next round. We'll see if I'm able to prophesy properly and get those uncovered. All right, so here is the Era 1. I had taken that off of the board, so you saw Era 2. Don't worry about that. This is Era 1. You can complete this in order. It's important to do it in order because it changes the behavior of the ships. So I'll just go in order. That's pretty easy. So the goddess of the waters will go. According to her card, she is going to take out a settlement and a resource cube from a coastal land because of typhoon. So that's okay. That's not too bad. Wasn't gonna. I don't know how I was gonna make it up there anyway. So that's pretty cool. Now we have the ships, and now we're gonna have some fun. All right, so the ship attacks the nearest settlement. It would send two conquistadors to a settlement. These people just kind of sit there, and they're going to breed in a minute. Actually, you know what? I should have done that already. There you go. The conquistadors, they breed too. Or they conquer people. I don't know what they do. Wherever they get their people. So they're going to move over here, and they're going to attack. However, I have some goat horns for you. Bye-bye. And so the goat horns are going to ensure success. That's also why I wanted to have people over there. And I get to take the conquistadors and I get to put them in my jail. Bye-bye. So long. And the main event, I had two ships over here. That's why I wanted to get set up and have them fall by my sword. So the black ship is going to launch. They are going to fail. And also subsequently on a separate turn, the gray ship is going to launch and they're going to fail. I have 4 weapons for them. The same 2 people can guard. As long as I have weapons to deal with it. Had I not had the weapons, they would just conquer it and turn it into their fort. But I don't. So what do I get? 4 conquistadors in jail. I have offerings for the gods for days, baby. Days. As I said before, there's nothing I could do about this one. Poor villager. I wasn't going to get to you anyway, probably. Usually in a solo game, you can only learn one of the trades. Getting 2 of them is very, very difficult. But... so this one wiped it out pretty immediately. And then I take 2 and put those over there. Had they been madder, had the god of volcano had been a little bit madder in the orange, it would have been a second row to kind of connect all these islands. But that's not what happened. We're going to take that off. And then we are going to put new resource over there. That's more rocks. A little bit higher percentage of obsidian, so because I'm playing an aggressive game, I may want to head out there and do a little bit of farming. And finally, the god Acheron actually has nothing to influence. The resource chip was already gone. There's no crop circle or anything like that, so it is just going to do nothing. The next official step is check for victory and or defeat in the sense of I need a noble out there. In the cooperative game, noble, got it. I have 2 of them. Still have my original 2. So that step is done. That's step 7. Step 8, offering. So I have 3 wood to give to the seer. So I would need some combination of wood, straw, manure. I gave away my straw with the offering, and I had no manure. I had no way to get manure. So I'm going to give away 2 of my wood. And I'm going to get 1 wood for change because that was 3. And I get to uncover one thing. I get to either uncover what the 2 gods are going to do, or I'm going to get to see where they're going to do it. And I think it's so much more valuable, especially with reference to the tsunami and the volcano that are coming next, to know where those things are going to happen. I can deal with not knowing what the gods are going to do. So then you will see everything set up when I get to the end of the round. The final thing that's going to happen is I'm going to learn pig. This villager is going to teach me the ways of the pig. So that is part of the maintenance phase, that last phase. I get this action cube for use for the rest of the game, so I get 2 more actions. That's why I was comfortable using a few more, 1 extra cylinder. I knew I was going for this, and I was just setting myself up for some really good stuff. So I think the trade-off was really good for me. All right, that was an entire event phase. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video for a second, refresh everything, and then we'll be ready for Era 2. We have begun Era 2. I wanted to give you a lay of land in terms of threats. So I got all 7 threats. The tsunami is down here, which is lucky for me. I'm absolutely going to satisfy Moriba, I think it's Moriba, something. And make sure that they don't touch my settlement, so that was a little bit lucky there. Ye Old Pirate is harrying this coast again, but it is next to the volcano. I think I am going to allow the volcano to get a little bit more angry and cover up these things, which would destroy this ship, or at least make sure it doesn't do anything for the turn. So yeah. We will see about that. It might be the best play, but I'm thinking about that in terms of mitigation. I have a ship over here, and they are going to be attacking this settlement definitely. I have the lady, the goddess over here. I don't know what she's going to do. My biggest fear is that they attack this field, but I think I have a plan just in case it is an attack on this field to mitigate that, and then anything else she could do I don't really care about. And then I have threats that are off the board. This one is going to just put conquistadors on a forest settlement because there's really nothing else to do. Just kind of put a fort with 2 people. And he's also going to be not doing much. So I have some threats, especially this I have to be concerned about, but the other side I don't have to be concerned about too much. As you can see, I did not uncover the cards from last turn because I didn't offer enough for the prophecy. The cards for satisfaction, I have to give 3 of each resource. This one is corn, I believe that is, off of the crops, salt, and milk. And then the other one is cereal, which also comes from the crop area, obsidian, and goat meat. Just so you know, I have all those conquistadors in jail, so I can use any of those resources to get those conquistadors in there. I have these action markers. I have 4 cubes and a cylinder, with some other stuff ready to be unlocked. This is 6 resources. If I was playing on difficult mode, I would no longer be able to gather resources from the board. I am not. I'm playing on easy mode, which is 8. Normal mode would be 7. So just to you have to keep in track of, you can't just take every single resource from the land. So the fun part about this game from a solo perspective is that you can take all your moves, really. So I've been sitting here for the last 10 minutes or so, puzzling out all the different things that I'm going to do. Not a lot of randomness except for what you get from the resources, but you don't really need to have the resources unless you're desperate in order to at least know what you're doing for the round. So let's take a bunch of actions. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a cube, so that is a single move of 3. We're going to go over my little land bridge over there. We're going to go 2, we're going to go 3. We're going to pray to one of the gods, whichever one, for obsidian. Yes! Haha! Yes! We have achieved 4 obsidian because of my power, and I think that is the last I'm going to be able to gather because I am also going to take wood because I think I'm going to need wood. That isn't as lucky, but it is era 2, so I do get 3 wood. All right, so also because the noble is there, the reason I wanted to do that is I wanted to make another farm and have control over that farm. The next thing we're going to do is a production on the goat area. So I have 3 goats over here, so I'm going to make 3 milk. There you go. And I am going to slaughter 2 of these goats. Goodbye, goats. You served your usefulness. Sad to see him go, but I do want some meat around that is useful for the god satisfaction over there, and I definitely want the weapons, the goat horns. Lots of weapons going to be used in this game. Not going to convert anything because I have a feeling I'm going to need my wood. Actually, you know what? I'm going to convert one of them. I managed to get wood. I have 4. I think I'm okay if I use a wood and turn this into cheese. I can store up to 3. So now I have 3 food and lots of stuff. I mean, I'm very much covered for this round and the next round as well, food-wise. Happy with that. The next thing I'm going to do now that I'm down here is I'm going to do some technology. So then I have this wood. That's one of the things I knew I was going to use my wood for. Down to 2. And I have 3 stone, please. Easy. Stone here, then 2 stone here. And I'm actually going to unlock these 2 and get those 2 cylinders. Fantastic. I love that. I was able to do that. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put that right there. And I'm going to unlock my this thing over there. So I've used basically all of my stone. So I'm, all that stone that I had gathered ended up being useful for different things. And I had enough resources to build my cave because I think I'm going to get a 5th person at the end of this from reproduction. So I wanted to be prepared with the cave. All right, so I am going to use a cylinder move, which is 6 total move. It's going to be 1. Get away from here. We're going to blow. 2. And then we are going to pick up young man over here. There we go. Everybody can gather on the canoe. Reason I did that was because once you abandon a settlement with an animal, the animal kind of goes back into the wild. Now it is back in the wild, and there are 2 of them. So that means that when they're in the wild, they breed, so I'm going to get more goats. When they're separate, they were useless to me. That's why I killed 2 of them and not 3. So just in case I wanted to have more goats, I have them available to me, so I can just kind of make a new settlement if I need it in Era 3. All right, so for the second of my cylinder moves, we are going to go Surfing USA. We are going to go here. Everybody's going to be gathered right there. We are going to consolidate on the crops over here. Look what I can do now. Check this out. Everything is unlocked. I have a lot of productive capacity. All right, so I am going to cylinder because I don't have any cubes left. I think I handle it. I think it's fine. So I have 3 guys on here. So I'm actually going to make 3 plus 3, which is 6. I don't love that, but what are you going to do? This is what I really want right there. So I have control of 2 areas. Remember, it has to be villagers on there. Nobles do not count as control, which is why I moved the villager in over there. So that gets me 4 straw, which puts me in a really good position. I like that a lot. And also 4 cereal. All right, I am going to do another cylinder move. That'll leave me 1 cylinder in my bank left. I'm really banking on being able to unlock that pig stuff for extra cylinders. This is what I'm going to do. So I got 6 moves. First of all, going to the volcano. And then I'm going to go 1, 2. Surfing USA, get that canoe away from this volcano. And then, so I would complete the move. So that means I would do the volcano stuff first. So in terms of the volcano, I know I talked about wanting to let him get mad a little bit, Acheron, but I have too much stuff. I actually want to get rid of some of this stuff. So then I am going to cash in 1 meat right there, 1 obsidian, and 1 cereal. I just did that straight up. So that is a good thing to satisfy Moniba. Man, I'm going to... M goddess. I'm going to mess that up for good. All right, so I am going to satisfy this person. I'm going to give them 1 milk. I'm going to give them 1 conquistador. There you go. And I am going to give them 1 of my plentiful. And I am also going to give them 1 fig. That is... I thought that was an ear of corn. I just looked it up. It is a fig. So the gods have been satisfied. I did not do this, at least in front of the camera, last round. Last round, I was able to pick from the idle deck for being able to make a sacrifice. This means that I'm able to do 1 production or extra production just outside of my turn without using a marker. The second one is, I can get rid of 2 resource areas from my deposit, which means I can gather 2 more. This is excellent. We really need this in order to make room and be able to gather more stuff. Beautiful. And then the last thing I'm going to do, since I have another cylinder move there, I'm going to put this person here so we can get some reproduction going. I'm going to move this person here. And I think that is all my movement. Actually, I'm going to get the noble out of the way just to go over there. No need for them to be on the volcano. So I am going to have found another settlement right there. If a pirate decides to attack me here, they're actually going to attack both settlements. We'll see if that actually happens. But what that allows me to do is it allows me to take the goats from the wilderness and put them here. So you see how I was able to kind of game the system a little bit, which is pretty satisfying, actually. Thematically, release 1 into the wilderness so that I can get 2 all the way halfway across the world. Don't think about it too hard. So I'm able to get back the goat farm, totally relocate from the eastern side of the island right over to the very middle. All right, so that is a lot of actions used. Let's go ahead and do the entire event phase. All right, let's get it on with some event phase stuff. First thing, reproduction. I have 2 groups. Somehow they are giving birth to entirely fully grown villagers, like Athena bursting from their heads or something like that. The goats also reproduce. So they're going to get a third one. That actually comes from the reserve, not from the wilderness. So brand new goat comes into the world. All right, so time to feed my peoples, which is number 2. We are going to feed them figs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A little goat haunch makes 6 for 6 beings out there. So they are totally well fed. Let's see, a cave. I did construct my cave, so I am able to house the villagers pretty well. Spoilage, that's a little bit of a problem, but it's actually not that big of a problem. I'll show you how. So these 2 spoil. They will go on the record. So the spoilage over there. So then the capacity there is the player count. So I can only waste 1 without terrible things happening. Since I wasted 2, this makes the god mad, and it's going to bring their anger up 1. All right, so we're going to bring their anger up 1. So it is probably a good thing that I did end up satisfying the god. So it is now time for that. I'm going to remove all of these resources. Bye-bye. You ops! Burn! Get in there, you evil conquistador. I know what you did in history. That was terrible stuff you did. So then that would satisfy that, and the effect of that is I get to make the god calm again. So, whew! I avoided that one. I think I would have wanted it to go up 1, not 2. 2 would have been a little bit bare, especially towards the last round. But at least I got satiated both of the gods. All right, so we resolve everything in turn order. They're both very, very calm, so all of the yellow effects are going to occur. So then we have the tidal wave, which is 1. That's down here. It would wipe out everything over here, but there's nothing to wipe out. So I knew that going in, and was able to take care of that. The second effect is Manaiba, the sea goddess. She is over there, and her effect, which I did not know ahead of time, is the one I prepared for. Fantastic. It's the one I cared about. It's the one that could threaten me at that particular space, and is the one I prepared for. So it would normally destroy the settlement and everything on it, which would be terrible. That'd be half my village. But I prepared myself with fire offering. So then all I need to do is I need to offer it fire. And so that is what the whatchamacallit over there is, the offering of straw. So 2 straw makes fire, and I was able to burn fire. So that blocks this and prevents that from burning, which is really, really, really good. So it is not necessary to use, to constantly give the prophecy resources if you know the cards and if you can kind of figure out, there's not that many cards, like 6 of them. So once you get to know all the cards, you can kind of calculate what you want to go for. I happen to know that was a possibility to be threatened, so I prepared myself for that. So that's really great. Sorry about that. It just went along the top. So the bottom is Acheron. I have no idea. Who knows what Acheron does? I really don't know. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Same effect, actually. Different way to block it, which is specifically with manure. I don't have any of that stuff. Who cares? So it just takes away the resource from there. That is not a big deal at all. While I'm there, the white ship is going to put down a fort, and it is going to put 2 conquistadors at the fort. And because I've done such a good job managing the conquistadors, I'm not too worried about it. I have a feeling they're just going to be there for the rest of the game. Go for it, guys. Next up is the gray ship. The gray ship is going to attack this settlement, but I'm prepared with goat horns. That's why I killed the goats. And guess what happens? You are in, said the spider to the fly. Now I have 7 conquistadors in my jail. I can't believe how much they're just running face first into my might. All right, so for the last 2, we got the volcano and the ship. They are basically going to cancel each other out. I'll show you how. So then that gets destroyed. So then this whole thing is going to get turned into rock. If the god was mad, it would have gone out another area and would have connected all of this, which might not have been the worst thing in the world. But I think I was playing literally with fire there. So I don't, I don't regret satisfying the god when I did. So then that is there. The usual layout of volcanic resources are there. I doubt I'm going to be able to get to any of that stuff. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. I don't know if you saw that at home, but I didn't see it. Oh my God. I'll mix that up after that. Just wanted to illustrate that that's there. But very important for the pirate ship or the conquistador, because they no longer have a place to attack. They have to attack the nearest island. They're not going to go this way. They are going to attack the nearest island, which is nothing. So actually the book specifically says if the pirate ship ends up next to a volcano, it is going to do nothing, which is why it's important to resolve each of the threats in turn. We are back to the prophecy. The downside of having to block the sea goddess with straw is that I only have 2 straw left. I was hoping to be able to keep my straw to give both offerings, but at this point I can only give 1. And like last time, it is more useful to pull the location, the where instead of the what. So I won't have these 2 revealed yet again for the final round, but I have my threats where they're going to appear, so I'll be able to plan for that pretty good. All right, so here's the beginning of round 3, or era 3. I have new satisfactions for the god. Once again, I did not uncover what is happening with what they're going to do, but as you will see in a minute, I don't think I'm too concerned with that. Uncovered the new requirements for the satisfaction. I got a little bit lucky because this era 4 thing is usually a complicated non-perishable food, but they're both cheese, and I happen to have 2 cheese. I wasn't worried about it because there's so many conquistadors to throw in the volcano, but it's nice to be able to kind of fall into that and use my conquistadors for other stuff. All right, setting the board up for threats. The lady goddess is right here. I am not really too concerned with that. Go ahead, destroy all these. Yes, destroy all humans. The white ship, this is not going to be great. Because, in fact, I think the ships are going to be the biggest thing that I'm going to be worried about, because they are going to assault 2 per settlement. So I'm probably just going to move 1 person in there, so I have 2 defenders for each place. So I have to take care of this one and this one from 1 ship. That's not great. But to counterbalance that, this ship is in the middle of nowhere. And it is going to put 2 conquistadors in the forest, and then just put a fort there, and I don't have to worry about that. As far as other threats goes, I have another black ship, and it is going to attack this settlement as well. So I'm going to get 6 conquistadors. I need to be able to deal with them. This tsunami ended up also in 2. It is going to wipe out these 2 areas, but I don't care about that. Volcano is going to wipe out this island down here, but I don't care about that. And the best possible place, he made it erupt, and now he is watching the handiwork that is happening over there. You have fun, Elder God. You go ahead and play in the ashes. All right, as you can see here, rectify some cheating from last round. When I went over here with the cube, I had uncovered both of these. I was not supposed to do that. You can only do that if you put a cylinder there, then you can unlock two technologies, 1 action, 1 technology. So I'm just going to rectify that right now. A little bit of a retcon. I didn't make anything here anyway, so that was fine. So I'm going to spend the 2 over there, and that's going to get me a cylinder. That basically gets me an extra action in case I need it. I'm also going to take advantage of my really advanced production capacity. This is going to be because I have 6 people on my farms. I am going to produce 6 figs. That's enough to feed everything, most everybody I ever want to feed. It is also going to net me 2 right there, and it is also going to net me 2 of these things. All right, so one thing I'm going to do is, this is out without using a marker. I'm going to get rid of 2 of these markers over here. I'm going to free up some deposit space, and then I am going to use my cylinder, and I'm going to make a cylinder move. I'm going to use the wood for making this last canoe over there. So I'm going to go 1, 2 to get some obsidian for war, and then I'm going to do 3 in order to have defense against those 2. Let's see what I get for my last bit of obsidian. Oh baby, this is not as unusual. So I'm still excited about it, but it's not as unusual. So that gets me 4 obsidian, and that is some serious weaponry for the wars to come. So right now I'm sitting on 8 obsidian. Boy, I feel really good about that. And since it is a cylinder move, I can move this seer into the volcano. So they are going to be set up for the explosion and all that kind of stuff. Second move is going to be this villager over here. Third move, I don't think I'm going to have a use for the third moves. I think I'll be exactly where I want to be. 1 rock and 2 obsidian, which is 1 rock and 3 more obsidian, yes! Oh man. So that is it's just a lot of obsidian. I'm going to be completely and utterly loaded for bear, and I don't even have to let the conquistadors, like I don't get like a extra victory for wiping out the conquistadors, even though I probably could at this point. Just got to keep them under 11, which that is going to be perfectly easy and fine. All right, so I am at the volcano where my noble is, and this is going to be the most satisfying thing I've done all week. First of all, let's get some cheese on there. So then one cheese, and then I am going to sacrifice 4 of you. Get out into the volcano with you. No, we swear on the blood of Christ, we didn't do anything. Exactly, you did plenty of stuff in the name of Christ. You heathens, get in the volcano. And I did get a card that is going to be times 2 movement for whatever I do. But I think I'm done. I think I am ready. I did such a good job with the everything else, and I got a couple of lucky breaks that I think I'm set up, even though I left the last round with not many cylinders. So let's go ahead and do this last event phase. All right, so last reproduction. I get 1. I only have 7 total natives that I can get out there, so I now have the maximum of 7. I do get goats from the reserve, so it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to have some more goats. I feed my peoples. I did not go too crazy this time. They are going to eat figs once again, and I'm going to go ahead and take this cheese. There is no change, but I just fed everything and nothing spoils, so I don't have to worry about the wrath of Acheron. The offering phase, my favorite. Get out of here, you dirty conquistadors. In the volcano with you. So much sacrifice, so much good times, putting you in the fire. All right, first one to go is Moneba. She is going to release her card, which I did not know. The card is Pirates. It would kill whoever's here, so it does kill the NPC. Does not, it specifically says in the rules, does not kill conquistadors because it's allied with the conquistadors for whatever reason. I would be able to block it with by defending against with weapons, and also if I had fortified it. But the Moneba didn't really do anything. Happy with that. Poor Acheron, didn't do anything. You are lonely over there. Your card, though, says that if there were settlements there, it would destroy some wildlife. It would also destroy wildlife in the wilderness. So I had some pigs in the wildlife. Destroys half of them. There were 4 pigs. Now there's 2. Doesn't really bother me whatsoever. Next up is the volcano effect. This settlement, which I think was my initial settlement. Goodbye. Is going to flip over. And I'm going to get some more. I'm not going to bother putting out the obsidian because this is the last round of the game. But just to give you a sense of what the board looks like at the end of the game, this is basically what's going to happen. Too bad. Now I have a land bridge to be able to move around there. The pirates in white are going to attack. They're going to attack here and here, 2 conquistadors each. I am waiting for them with. This is, well, actually, I could just put in the exact change right there. I'm waiting for them with 4 obsidians, and they are just going to throw themselves in my prison. So that move right there, just that one move itself, satisfies the difficult condition of this card. This is the mission card. I have to have that many in my jail. So then, look at that. It would be 5 if I wanted to get that in there. So then 4 right there, plus I have 3 more in here. That is plenty. So victory condition met. If that wasn't good enough, this black pirate is going to assault this area. I have some more obsidian for you, and you are going to be 2 more in my jail. Good Lord. The tsunami, I'll take care of that one last. So all the tsunami does is take that out, and that would be just water for everybody. The last thing I do is check for nobles. My nobles were never any real threat, and they are here. They have survived. I did the mission. The conquistadors are under control. I have won a game of Tindaya. This is my first win in 5 tries. I had some very quick losses, because I think what I had to go through with the strategy of this game is when you see a game like this, you tend to want to build. You tend to want to have settlements and build big empire, whatever it was. It took me a couple of games to realize that you can't. I mean, look what happened to my initial settlements. I mean, I know I have this one, but everything else here is gone. And, you know, killing goats and making them spawn in other places and just being really nimble. That is what I had to do in order to figure out what to do in order to be successful here. And I had to put it on the easiest difficulty. I did the easiest difficulty because I wanted to actually make it to the last round so I could show you everything that the game had to offer. So I really hope you enjoyed this. This game is difficult. It is a brain burner. If I put in all of my thinking time, the video could legitimately be a third longer because I've just been sitting here puzzling, figuring out where to go, what to do, what my options were. There's so much to think about in this strategy game. I think it's excellent. I think, I usually don't give a lot of thoughts when it comes to these Kickstarters. I just tell you whether it's fun or not. But this particular one, it was a grower on me. And when I was able to throw conquistadors in the volcano, that really took it up to the next level. So I really hope that this video gave you information that you need to wonder to see if Tindaya is a game that you want to back or not. So this is Jason with the One Stop Co-op Shop, reminding you that we'll see you at the next stop.